Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So this video is a detailed video on how to draft this short sequin dress with deep v-neck and mesh. If it's something you're interested in, keep watching this video and let's get right into it. So we are drafting this pattern. Of course, you need your pattern paper, and from the top of your paper you just need to come down by about 1 inch and rule a line, because you don't want to start your measurement from the top of your paper. So that line is going to be your top line. After that, you want to measure from your top line 1.2, that is 1 to 8. You want to measure from your top lines 1 to 8, and once you roll that line, you name it as your front shoulder line. So you are going to take your chest line measurement from your front shoulder line, and the chest line measurement for this pattern that I'm doing is 7 inches. So 7 inches from your front shoulder line, and then you rule out the line. Go ahead and label that line as your chest line. So next thing we're going to be doing is taking our bust line measurement and our under bust. For this pattern, the bust line measurement is 10 inches while the under bust length is 14 inches. After marking down this measurement, you go ahead to just label the lines. The first one is going to be your bust point or bust line, and then the second line is going to be your under bust length. Then we'll take the half length, that's the length of this front bodice, is going to be 20 inches. You're going to mark it, roll it out, and also label it as your waist length. When we have done all this, the next thing you want to do is rule out your neckline. So the neckline, I'm using 3 by 3 inches, 3 inches in and 3 inches below from the top line, and then use your dip cup to just make sure these 2 points meet to form a very perfect circle there. Then on your front shoulder line, you take your shoulder measurement, divide by 2, which is 7 inches here, and connect that point to your neck point. Then you also take your shoulder measurement, divide by 2 on your chest line, and then you connect the one on your chest line to the one on your front shoulder line. Now we've done this, next thing we want to do is take our dart. For this pattern, we have a dart of 7 inches. We're going to divide that by 2. It's going to give you 3, 4, 8, and then you mark it on your bust line, your under bust line, your waistline, and rule a straight line there. For taking in our dart, we're going to be using 1/2 inch on both sides for the dart, and then you come down from your bust line by 1 inch, then connect these lines together from your bust line to your waistline. If you have watched my tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice, this is not going to be confusing to you, but we are going to do a little alteration because we are going to take extra 1/2 inch at the under bust. No, this is not a bust here, but we want that place to be a bit fitted. That's why I said we're going to do an alteration. Patterns are meant to be played around with. So after taking 1/2 inch under the bust, just connect it like that to your bust line and to the line that is going to the waist. You can cancel out that one at the upper part because you're not going to be needing that. So connect your dart properly. This is going to be our new dart. And on your armhole side, you have to divide that part by 2, come in by 1/2 inch, and put in your bust measurement divided by 4, put it on your chest line and put it on your bust line. Next thing you want to do is also put in your waist measurement divided by 4. Then whatever you have inside your dart, you just take note of it and add it to the measurement for your waist, and then mark it out. After we've done this, what we're going to do now is connect from your chest line down to your waist, and for the armhole we're going to also connect it with that 1/2 inch we came in by. This is it. This is a very simple pattern. So the next thing we want to do now is to do our bust dart. This pattern is going to have a bust dart because we want to put cup in this dress without having to do a bust here. So how we are going to do that is that the difference between the front waist length and the back waist length is 2 inches. So we're going to take 2 inches from your bust line, we're going to come down by 2 inches and then connect that point to our dart line. After doing this, we're going to finally work on the deep V part of this dress where your mesh is going to be. So now you want to calculate from your top line, come down. You know that your under bust is 14. You can come down about 2 inches or 3 inches from your under bust line. For me, I came down by 2 inches, which is 16 inches, because I didn't want it to be very deep, but I needed it to be deep. Now that 16 inches point, you will connect it straight to your neckline, point. This part now from your chest line that I am marking is going to be where your mesh, your net is going to be. That's where your mesh should be. But this is not the actual design. This is not the actual shape of this dress. So we are going to have to alter it. But this is how you start when you want to do this alteration. So now the next thing I will do after marking that part is our net. From the top line, I'm going to come down by 4.5 inches 4.5 inches. You can come down more if you want, and then that point I'm going to come in by 1 inch. So we are going down by 4.5 inch and coming in by 1 inch. I'm going to mark that point and then just connect. You can use your hand to just connect it from your neck point to that 1 inch point, and then connect it to your chest line, because this is the shape we're going for at the front part of this outfit, just to give it that little curve before we get to where our mesh should be. You can cancel that straight line because this curve line is going to be our new line. This is what we'll have for our net. So we have about 158. That will be times 2, because this is going to be on a fold. If you want your mesh to be wider, then you can just increase it and make it wider. We're going to go ahead to cut this pattern, but before you start cutting, you would want to adjust your bust dart. So you're just going to close up your bust dart. You're not closing it up totally because we need it for this outfit we are making, but I'm just going to close it and tape it down, because I want to make sure my material is not short, like it's not less than when I'm taking my bust dart. So once you draw the line, because you will see that when you closed your bust dart, the line was not equal again. You're going to close it, rule out the line well, and after that you're going to come out by 1 inch and then just connect it with a dot like so. After that, at the side of the pattern, I'm adding 1 inch allowance to the side, so I'm just adding it up. You can add more allowance if you usually use more, but 1 inch is just enough for me for side seam allowance. After doing that, you can just connect these lines together, connect your allowance together. And at the lower part, where the part that's going to be joining to the skirt part, we can leave 1/2 inch allowance. You don't need so much for joining it to the lower part, since we are making a dress. Rule out your line, and you can still add the allowance all around on your pattern if you want, or you can do this while you are cutting your fabric. I'm just making you understand that you can definitely do both. So I will just be adding 1/2 inch allowance to my shoulder part of this pattern and also to the armhole part after cutting out my net. We are basically done with the front pattern. What we want to do last is just notch our 16 inches point where our mesh is going to start from, so that you won't get confused when you are cutting it on your fabric and you won't miss that part. Let's move to cutting the back of this pattern. This is way simpler than the front. Just like you did for the front, rule out a line from the top of your paper by 1 inch and label it as your nape line, and then from your nape line measure about 1 inch again and label that as your back shoulder line. Now from your back shoulder line, you want to come down by 7 inches, which is your chest line, just like we did for the front. Come down by 7 inches, mark that point and rule a straight line. You label this line your chest line. The next thing you want to do is from your nape line now, measure your back waist length. The back waist length for this pattern is 18 inches. Remember the front was 20 inches, that's why we took a bust dart of 2 inches. So this is 18 inches. You mark it and you rule out a straight line and you label this as your waist line. Next thing we want to do is take our neck line measurement. From your nape line, come down by 1 inch and then go in by 3 inches. Remember we did 3 by 3 for the front, but we're doing 3 by 1 here. Then use your deep curve to connect these 2 points together to form your back neckline. Then on your back shoulder line, take your shoulder measurement, divide by 2. On your chest line, mark your shoulder measurement, divide by 2. Use your ruler to connect from your neck point to your back shoulder line, and then connect from your back shoulder line to your chest line, just the way I'm doing. After doing this, you divide your bust by 4, put whatever you get on your chest line. Then on our back shoulder line to chest line, divide it by 2, whatever you get, mark it out there, and then with your deep curve, connect that point you have marked to the point on your chest line to form our armhole. Go ahead and take in your back dart. For the back dart, we're doing our dart, which is 7 divided by 2, 3, 4, 8. We'll put it on our waistline, and then we're going to take 1/2 inch on both sides of the waistline. Now we are going to do the same thing, 3.5 inches on our chest line. Connect this line to your waistline, come down by 1 inch on your chest line, and then just connect these points together, just like I'm doing to form your back dart. The back pattern drafting is not complicated at all. So on your waistline, take your waist measurement, divide by 4, whatever you have inside your dart, add it to that measurement, and then connect the one on your chest line, which is your bust divided by 4, to your waistline. This is it for our back bodice. We are going to go ahead now to do the neckline for this particular dress, because this is a basic bodice. For the neckline, I want it to be as low as 11. If you want your own lower, please go lower. If you want it higher, you can go higher. But with this, we're going to be using 11 inches, and we are going to use our dip curve to connect that 11 inches point now to the neckline. Now you can leave your back neckline like this if you don't want it to be very wide, but if you want it to be a bit wider, come in by about 1 inch or more at this chest line point, and then connect it from your neckline to the point that you just came in by, and then connect that point to the lower part of this neckline. This is just smoothing out that part because it's not supposed to have any sharp end. So if you want your own wider, you keep coming in and keep doing the same thing. If you want it very wide, you can come in again by 1 inch, connect it from your neck point to that place and then to this place. But I feel like we should go in by another half an inch. Let's go in by another half an inch. So we would have a wide back neckline, because it's really cute. From this video you can see here, and you don't forget to smoothen up that part, because that place is not supposed to be pointed, it's supposed to be curved or round. Just cancel out the other parts you're not using. We are not going to be using zips but ropes for the back part of this dress, so just mark out about 1.5 inch inside. If you want to do up to 2 inches, you want your back to be very exposed, you can do 2 inches or more, but I did 1.5 on this pattern because at the end of the day it will become 3 since this is on fold. So mark 1.5 inch and just rule the line. So this other part is no longer useful to you, because that part is going to be used for like tightening your back. We're going to go ahead to just put an allowance around this pattern. At the side of the pattern we're putting 1 inch allowance, and at the armhole and shoulder part we are putting 0.5 inch allowance. Even at the lower part of this pattern, since it's going to join a skirt part, we are going to put 0.5 inch allowance. Then you can cut your pattern. Your back pattern is ready. I told you that this back pattern is quite simpler than the front. The front has more complexities than this back pattern. The back pattern is very, very simple. It doesn't need any extra work or anything. So this is our front pattern with our mesh net, and this is our back pattern. This is what we're going to be using to cut the upper part of this sequin dress. You can just fold out your upper pattern and keep it, so that we can move to the lower part of this dress. To draft the lower part of this dress, bring out a fresh pattern paper, rule out the line just like we've been doing for all other patterns, then start your measurement from that line. For the full length of this dress, we are doing 33.5. 33.5 is the full length. It's a short dress, so 33.5 is just fine. You can use any desired length you want. I'm just marking the 33.5 round and ruling out the line. So after ruling out the line, I'm going to label this line as my skirt line. This is the full length of the dress, but it's going to be the skirt line since we're drafting just the skirt. Now for my waistline, I'm going to measure my hip line, and my hip line is 8 inches from my waistline. Some zone may be 7 or 9, but this is 8 inches, so I'll rule out that line and label it as my hip line. This is what we need for our skirt pattern. Now on my waistline, I'm going to measure my waist divided by 4. On my hip line, I'll measure my hip divided by 4, and then the same measurement I did for my hip, I'm going to bring it down to where my skirt length is. I'm going to use my slight curve to just connect from my waist to hip, and then I'll use a straight ruler to connect from my hip line to my skirt line. But now this skirt is not just supposed to be straight there, so we're just going to come in at the skirt line by 1 inch. After you come in by 1 inch, you can come in by half if you don't want it to be very fitted, but 1 inch is fine. Then you come down by 1 inch on your hip, from your hip line, connect that point to your skirt line, and this is what you get. You can just use your curve to smoothen that part up so it won't be pointed or anything. Now on your waistline, you want to come in by 0.5 inch and then connect it from your side to that point, because you don't want, this is a dartless skirt and we don't want it folding at that area. This is it for your front skirt pattern. Just cut it out. Very, very simple. That's one reason why I love skirts. They are really simple to draft. So we are going to use this front pattern to draft out the back pattern. This skirt is going to have a butt contour. It's not the straight regular skirt at the back, you know, so we're going to draft it with a butt contour. Now place your front pattern on a fresh pattern paper, tape it down. At the center front there, just rule out the line, rule out a straight line to the new paper. Mark out the lower part of the skirt also. So extend the hip line to this fresh paper that you have underneath, and then on your front pattern you want to take out like half an inch from your hip part. So I'm doing this because this pattern is not for someone that has a big butt, so half an inch is just fine. So that half an inch you took out from the front hip, you add it to this fresh paper now as your back hips. This is what will form our butt contour. We're going to connect from waist point to this half inch we rolled out, and then from this half inch you want to come down by about 5 inches. It's just enough to accommodate your butt, and then connect that 5 inches to your hip point. We are just trying to form a butt contour. This is the easiest way I know to draft a butt contoured skirt. So smoothing up that part so it will not be pointed, and then you want to go ahead to connect your new hip line and your hip point for your front skirt pattern. You know, the front hip line and the back hip measurement is not going to be the same anymore. So we are done with the skirt pattern already. I'm just going to put in my zip allowance. I want to show you how you're putting a zipper allowance. You just do 1 inch at this point I'm marking, and then the exact way you did it for when you were doing the butt contour, you connect it like that. So connect from your hip line to your waistline and down. Then you go ahead to use your curved ruler, just the way you smoothen that part, to smoothen it up. Then you cut it out. Your patterns are ready, both your back pattern and your front pattern. So you see that your back pattern has like a curve at the butt area. That's what you call your butt contour. For the waistline, you don't need to come down. You see that I left my back pattern straight. You don't need to come down, just the way you did for the front pattern. After this, separate your two patterns from each other. Both of them are ready. Then you want to remove the half inch that you took out from the front pattern, just to make it equal. So when you are doing a butt contoured skirt, your hip for your front becomes smaller for your back. It's just like you're replacing what you would have used for your front to your butt area. So this is it. This is our back skirt pattern, and that one is our front skirt pattern. I'm just labeling where it's going to be our upper part, our lower part, so you don't get confused. I would advise you to do this labeling if you're the kind of person that gets confused with patterns. This is it. We are ready and we are done with the pattern drafting. This is what the dress looked like when I made it, when I finished making it. If you know you want me to post a tutorial on this, let me know in the comment section, and just watch out for the next video for a tutorial on how to cut and sew and stitch this dress up together. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and if you have questions, drop it in the comment section. See you in my next video. Until then, keep winning.